So as I sit down to record this, it's been about 7 days since the assassination of Charlie Kirk in Utah. And I did previously record a whole podcast segment about this pretty soon after it happened, and I wound up having to scrap the whole thing. It was unsuitable. I was honestly too angry to really be able to give voice to the thoughts that I was processing at that time. And I think maybe one of the reasons why, there's a lot of things that they have just kind of mashed themselves together surrounding this whole thing. It wasn't exactly to the year, but it actually happened right around close to about a year after my best friend passed away. He had cancer, and he actually, he kind of kept it quiet, for quite a long time, and I didn't even find out until pretty late in the pretty late in that fight that he had it, and that at that point it was going to be terminal. And a lot like Charlie Kirk, this friend of mine, he was one of these people that really, he believed in the importance of political dialogue. More than almost anything else, he loved to seem to sit down and talk about politics with people with whom he disagreed, to try to figure out, what he could learn from people, and maybe even find things that he could teach to other people. And I was actually somebody with whom, he and I, we agreed quite frequently, but we disagreed quite frequently about a lot of subjects. And that didn't impede the friendship at all. We were, Guy actually used to refer to me as the older brother that he never had. And I kind of regret that I didn't really appreciate, the significance of that at the time that he said it. It's kind of too late for that now. But one of the other things that really kind of hit me pretty hard about that was seeing a lot of the things that happened after Charlie Kirk was shot, and just the sheer number of people who lacked the basic level of humanity, to understand, the tragedy of the loss of a human life, at the very least. All these people that were coming out and saying that they were happy that he was gone because they hated him and everything that he stood for. And that also kind of, I think that hit a lot of people pretty hard. I think that a lot of the things that have transpired since then, if the political left is upset about how much the influence of Charlie Kirk has grown, even more since the assassination, I think that's one place that they should look directly in the mirror and say to themselves, maybe if we had just held back from being such insufferable douchebags about this, then maybe that wouldn't be happening. I think that a lot of the I think a lot of the growing influence of Charlie Kirk since his passing relates directly to people looking at a lot of these people that were celebrating his death and just realizing, these people, we don't like these people. I don't like these people. And even in areas where I might be, sympathetic to some of the concerns that they bring up, I don't like them. I don't like them. I don't want to be on the same side of them. I don't want to vote the same way that they do. If you're celebrating the murder of anybody, you and I are just not built the same. As much as I believe in the importance of political dialogue, I also do kind of look at a lot of these people I think to myself of, the line from the Deadpool Wolverine movie, right? Like, not everybody gets a speech. So political dialogue is important, but maybe not necessarily with everybody. I think that maybe there needs to be like a requisite level of humanity present in a person, before we're going to sit down and take seriously what they have to say on matters political. Because when it comes down to it, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of small and, for lack of any better word, petty issues that kind of get driven up into politics all the time. But in the long run, the bigger picture, it is about people's lives and about the kind of lives that people can have, with the policies and law that are in place. And if you are so hostile to any one particular group of people that you would actually celebrate when one of them are killed, well then I kind of think that maybe you're somebody that we just don't really need to hear from. It's not what I used to think. And it's definitely not what I think about most people. I mean, when I was asked to speak at my friend's funeral, I thought to myself, what would he want said now that he's not here to say it anymore? And so I gave a speech about the importance of political dialogue, especially amongst people that disagree, and about the way that the lack of dialogue is so frequently just pushing people through the cracks of society. And we conceal the cracks in our society with dialogue. The more that we talk, the more that we bring forward to be discussed, the more that we know about the things that are happening in our society, in our communities, in our countries, around the world. The more that we talk, the more that we know, and the more that we know, the more that we can do. But if your contribution to that conversation is basically, fuck those people, let them die, or worse yet, fuck those people, kill them, then you are somebody that, quite frankly, we need not hear from. And I do mean that both ways. Like, we don't need to hear from you. I think we need to not hear from you. And I think that you should find it in yourself to have the amount of humility to look yourself in the mirror and realize, if I'm this bloodthirsty, then I don't have anything positive to contribute. And so you see a lot of these people out there, they've been losing their jobs. They've been getting fired from their jobs. And normally that's the kind of thing that I wouldn't be so fond of. But as it relates to these particular people, I have to be honest with you. Not only do I not care, but I kind of like to see it. I kind of like to see this almost like unprecedented purging of complete lunatics, in particular from a lot of like institutional positions within our society. People who were, say, teachers, or people who were, say, like, high up in various government institutions and things like that, and now they're losing their jobs. Hey, those were people that don't belong there. And it was definitely time to get them out of there. People in the media, things like people like Jimmy Kimmel, for example. Like, he's currently under suspension from ABC for basically spreading a conspiracy theory regarding Charlie Kirk's murder and trying to pretend that it was like some sort of like a conservative that killed him. And so now he's off the air, at least for the time being. I don't feel badly about that. I think that these are people that basically need to be purged out of the institutions just for the sake of, for any lack of any better phrase, political hygiene. Because if you can't find enough humanity in you to at least care about the lives of the people that you disagree with, we definitely don't need you to be making decisions for the rest of us. We definitely don't need you to be trying to tell the rest of us what we should think. Like, we definitely should not think like you. And now the uprising of the beliefs and the opinions and the organization represented by this guy that you hated so much. Not only are a lot of you getting gone from our public institutions, but now it's, make no mistake about this. I think that there's a revolution happening. And it's not like we typically think of a revolution. It's not like a violent revolution. It's a very peaceful revolution. But it's not the one that a lot of these people kind of envisioned that they were going to have. Maybe even that they thought that they were going to start to see with this assassination. Like this streamer Destiny says that, Republicans need to be afraid to go to their events and things like that. It's like, well, I don't really see any evidence of that. But I do think that a lot of people with absolute lunatic beliefs are at the very least going to be a little bit more reluctant, to speak up about them. Which is, to me, fine, because we didn't really need to hear from them in the first place. And it's not just in the United States, it's in a lot of places. But I think that now we are going to see, there is a turning point where maybe things were starting to go just a little bit too far into some of this lunacy that has been pushed. And now we're going to turn around and we're going to go back a little bit towards something a little bit more sane. And if you didn't want to see it happen, and if you didn't want to see Charlie Kirk be the guy that inspired it all, well then I guess you shouldn't have assassinated him.